So you joined Piper in 1995,
Right.
and then when was the big call, the big call that put Gene Munster on the map?
So the big call was in 2004, I think, somewhere around there. But essentially, for Christmas, I got an iPod and I didn't have a Mac. And that was a problem back in the day because you couldn't run iTunes on a PC. And so I would have to go to the post-production room. There were a couple of post-production people at Piper. I would go there at night and I would have to rip my CDs onto their Macs because they had Macs and I couldn't hook up my iPod to get the music on it. And I remember I'd set my watch and it took like 30 minutes to rip each CD. And so I would sleep and I thought, this is ridiculous. I got to go out and buy a Mac. And so,
by the way, just so you know, anyone who's Gen Z listening to this has absolutely no idea what you're talking about. But anyway, continue.
So I went out and bought a Mac and came back to the office and talked to I was covering tech at the time, and I really wanted to cover Apple, and I kind of saw this opportunity for Apple to really break out from being a computer maker to being a mobile device maker. And so that was kind of the aha moment as I was setting my alarm and ripping these DVDs in the post-production. Like, you need to have this halo effect between iPods and that Mac business. And so, one of my associates famously coined the term the halo effect when it came to Apple, that they're going to benefit from the Mac business, from the iPod. And that was the big start. But when we made that call, it's fun to think back at it. But at the time, most analysts were really shamed after the dot-com boom, and they were not motivated. Our directors of research did not motivate us to have price targets that were significantly higher than where the stocks were, because a few years before, that's what analysts did. They put these huge price targets out, and then the stocks never met that, and then it discredited the firm. And so I was the first analyst to break that after the dot-com. And so at the time, I think Apple was like at $45 or something like that. There's many splits ago, and I came out with a $100 price target, and that just caught people like,
which was going to make it the world's most valuable company, right?
At that time, it was the $100 price target would make it. This is back in 2004. That would make it like it would have been like a $10 billion company. It wasn't, but a lot of people didn't think Apple was going to survive at that point. And the fact to go out with a big call like that, where you're well above the where the stock was at, really put the firm at risk. And I remember we have a pre-meeting before we go into our morning research meeting with the director of sales. And I remember him pulling me aside and saying, you better get this one right, because if you don't, you're going to be looking for a job. And because his salespeople had to go out and make the call. And so it's been a great ride, but that's how it got started.
So basically, you're the guy that saw the future for Apple basically before anyone else, including your peers on Wall Street, right?
Well, I think I would say that my team. It was a team effort, but we got it right with, I think, the iPod and then we were able to, as each step kind of progressed. We didn't see like the App Store with the iPhone back in 2004, but we saw them as being a mobile device company, and we were able to kind of, each time they got to one mountain, we were able to figure out what the next mountain was to go to. So I would kind of think of it more as, and my vision wasn't where we are today, but I think each step of the way we were comfortably ahead of where people were at.